morning show.
Well, time now for a tropical update. Hurricane specialist Michael Lowry is standing by at the expert desk. Michael, give us an update on Tropical Storm Arthur, first of the season.
That's right. Just in the past hour, we have our first named tropical storm in the Atlantic. This is Arthur, just off the coast of Florida, about 95 miles to the southeast of Cape Canaveral, Florida. Winds at 40 miles per hour, so the winds really haven't come up all that much. The Hurricane Center did find a report on Grand Bahama Island of tropical storm strength winds, and that's what allowed them to upgrade this to a tropical storm from a tropical depression. The pressures, though, estimated at 1,007 millibars, so they're still pretty high. I'm not seeing any dramatic falls in that pressure, indicating that the storm is quickly organizing. It is moving slowly to the northwest at 2 miles per hour. We do have tropical storm watches up for the east central coast of Florida from Fort Pierce up to Daytona Beach. This means tropical storm force winds are possible, winds in excess of 39 miles per hour within this area in the next 48 hours, probably in the next 24 hours or so. But really, it's not about the winds in Florida. It's going to be about the rain, which we'll talk about in a second. This is the forecast track, though. We're going to take this to the north as it gets picked up by this dip in the jet stream and accelerate it across the Carolinas into the Outer Banks as we get into the middle to latter part of the week, intensifying to possibly a borderline hurricane impacting the Carolinas. We're going to step through those impacts in just a minute and then racing out to sea by the weekend. This is what it looks like on our radar image. We can see the spin, the visible satellite picture. You can see the spin to those clouds. Some of the wind reports that we're seeing along the beaches along the east coast of Florida, mostly 15, 20 mile per hour sustained winds. This is that Freeport area where we did have the strong wind gust earlier. Most of the thunderstorms, though, have been down on this side, on the south side of this storm. Nothing really to speak of on the north side. In fact, not a whole lot of rainfall either. We have some gusty winds, close to 30 miles per hour, but again, not going to be a wind threat for Florida. Going to be a rainmaker, just an enhancement to the rainfall, not even significant rainfall is what we're expecting, because all of that rain is over the Bahamas right now. If I'm going to grade the storm, if you split it up, the circulation actually is right about in here. And so on the south side, you have very good A-type atmosphere on this side of the storm, also on this side of the storm. But on the north side of the storm, we have a lot of dry air punching down from the mid-levels of the atmosphere. You can see some of that on our water vapor picture. The drier colors indicated by the darker shading within the milky white colors. This is mid-level dry air. Not seeing too much of it because we're looking higher up. We're looking a little above that mid-level layer here, but that is coming down into the system, extinguishing those thunderstorms as they try to blow up around the circulation. So that's kept this in check the past few days, which has been good. That dry air, though, is going to retreat because this ridge of high pressure to the west is going to start to pull back to the west of it, and it's going to allow some moistening of the environment. This is the timing that we're thinking. Tomorrow and today, locally heavy rains possible in some of those outer rain bands as they move on toward the coast of Florida. Maybe some gusty winds, but mainly a nuisance for the east coast of Florida. As it gets up to the east coast of the U.S., the southeast U.S., though, we do expect it to intensify. For the Carolinas, for South Carolina, the coast of Georgia, we're looking at mostly increasing winds, rough surf, and of course the strong rip currents when you get that onshore flow around the system. Now notice up here, we have a cold front that's digging down. That cold front is going to help to pick it up and accelerate it across the Carolinas as we get into late Thursday into Friday. And it's when it interacts with the cold front or the jet stream dip, sometimes you can get energy from the atmosphere that's injected into the system, and that allows it to intensify further. The forecast right now is for a hurricane to be sitting right along the coast of the Outer Banks. If that were the case, we're talking about not only the heavy rainfall and the strong winds, but strong coastal flooding, or high coastal flooding because of the strong winds around the northeast side of the storm. So stay tuned. We're going to have more on the impacts and the timing of this as Weather Center Live continues. Back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Michael. And